Alrighty then. What we want to do on this video, let's take a few minutes to talk about the vote. There are those in the so-called black conscious or black community, whatever you want to call it. There are those who are nay, and there are those who are yay about the vote. Now, back in the day, I was one of these pro-black folks. I don't want to vote because of such and such. It don't mean nothing anyway, blah, blah, blah. And basically, I sort of feel that way right now to this day. I really don't. I don't. If it's Trump, if it's Hillary Clinton, I don't care. I just roll with the punches. Whatever idiot is in the White House, because when it's all said and done, racists are in control. Racists run things. The presidency don't mean nothing. The Congress and the Supreme Court, the majority is nothing but Caucasian folks. And then you have some tokens like Clarence Thomas, who is happy to be part of that clique. He does not care anything just because he has dark skin. He does not care nothing. And most of these other politicians, once they get into office or whatever, they do not care anything. They do not have the mentality, my people. I want to do something for the Negro race. They don't have that mentality. It's about them. What I can get for me. That's their thinking process. In fact, all these black businesses, all this black supposed to be black stuff, is not black anything. These things exist for the sole purpose of making somebody personal pockets rich. I don't see no record label, no business. It was a brother on Facebook bragging about his business. And he has 4 or 5 businesses and he got it going on, blah, blah, blah. And he puts the word black on there, but when it's all said and done, it's for his own self-enrichment. You might share a little bit with other dark-skinned people, but we know we are working hard and we're doing things for ourselves. There is no record label, there is no business that's doing something for the masses. It was created for the benefit of the masses. It's to fill somebody's personal pocket for their personal family. So we need to get out of la-la land about just because a dark-skinned person opened up a business don't make it a black business. That's their crap. And they're doing it for themselves and their family. That's the reality of it. There is no black businesses. Now, even the Caucasian people, they open businesses and they do things for themselves. However, they live in a society that gives them advantages, and they have certain privileges. So when they pay taxes, they benefit themselves because they are the ones who are making the laws. They are the ones who are making the policy. So it all benefits them, directly or indirectly. However, if you are on the opposite side of the tracks, it's a whole different story. So when you make a black business or a dark-skinned person make a business, they're doing it for themselves and they also doing it for the government that hates the people on the other side of the tracks. That's just the reality of it. Back in the day, like I said, I did the same thing. I do not care nothing about voting. I have not voted in my life. I would be happy to vote. I would be happy to vote if I found somebody that I thought was worthy of that vote and I thought that voting would be effective. I would do that. But other than that, I'm cool. Whoever you want to vote for and they win, whatever you do, whatever laws you want to put down, I'll roll with it. I don't care. Because you're in a situation where you're between a rock and a hard place. You know, either you're voting for the devil or you're voting for Satan. That's the reality of it. Now, of course, many of you will get angry and upset. You should still vote because your vote means something. Your vote means nothing if it's not effective. Now, the Mississippi campaign, which comes from here, depends upon voting. So clearly, I don't have a problem with voting, because whatever tool that your enemy gives you, you should use that tool. Whether it's buying guns, getting legal firearms, voting, whatever your enemy gives you, you need to take advantage of that. So in order to pull off the Mississippi campaign depends upon voting. So clearly I don't have nothing against voting. What I have a problem is voting in an effective manner. You must vote in an effective manner. Also, when you vote, you should have some type of agenda. So we come to these candidates right now, and what do you want? What is the purpose? What do you want them to do for you? The primary thing and the reality is, what are you going to do for them? That's what they want to know. What they said, one hand washes the other. Voting for many dark-skinned people in this nation is nothing but feel-good rhetoric. It's just like going to church. Child, I'm going to hear the Lord. I'm going to hear the Lord. Child, I'm going to vote today. I'm going to pull that lever. I'm voting for the Democrats. Feel-good rhetoric. You want to feel good about, you want to believe that you're part of something. The reality is, especially now on local or state government, your voting is more effective. But for the presidency of the United States, it's the electoral college that determines the president. The popular vote does not mean anything. Donald Trump won the presidency by the electoral college. And the electoral college was created a long time ago because at that particular time, the forefathers understood that the masses or the citizens of this nation were illiterates. They did not view them smart enough to vote for a president. So that's why you have the electoral college. The popular vote is to give the citizens the facade, the belief that they are participating in something that they're not. So you can have the popular vote. The president is elected by the electoral college. Now, those who are part of the electoral college can take consideration what the popular, those who, those votes that the popular vote is directed towards, but they don't have to, because y'all not smart enough to pick the president of the United States. And then once you do vote, the majority of you go vote, but then you sit on your ass, and that's it. I go and I vote just like you do when you go to church. You don't act out the principles of your faith. You go there, hoop and holler, praise the Lord, and you do nothing active in order to change the condition or make your environment Christ-like. You do nothing to change the condition of your community. You vote and you put it in the hands of your leaders and you sit on your ass. And that's why your leaders don't do nothing, because there's nothing around to keep them or hold them responsible for the promises they made to the public. This is why I voted for you, because you would do this, you would do that. And then you wonder, these politicians don't do nothing. Well, you're supposed to follow up behind your vote. And you don't do that. you don't fall up behind your vote. Voting for many dark-skinned people in this nation is nothing but more feel-good rhetoric. I voted. I hear you all the time. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. And y'all have all these sophisticated talks and you throw these words around. I'm a liberal and I'm a semi-conservative. And y'all like talking all that good stuff. But you change nothing. Just like in the Black conscious community. All this research. We got the information. We have the supreme wisdom. But when you look at those people as a human being, you don't see any type of change. You don't see them as good human beings. They're profane, vile, disrespectful, arrogant, pompous, and their communities and the environment that they are in, and you have thousands of these people, and they change nothing. So you have all of us out here voting, whether you vote for Trump or whether you voted for Hillary Clinton or whoever, you don't see no change because you don't hold nobody responsible for nothing. Even your dark-skinned people, once they get into office, they looking out for themselves, like all the other politicians. I'm very sure there were persons who decided to become part of government, and they actually did want to try to do something. In fact, I believe that Obama, perhaps he wanted to actually really try to do something to help this nation. But once you get into that system, you're going to find out that it is run by what they say, the good old boys club. And if you mess with the good old boys, you might be driving down in a limousine in Dallas, Texas. And when you come around a corner, next thing you know, half of your brain is blown out. Because you didn't want to play the game of the good old boys. And of course, you don't want to get your brains blown out. You could be president of the United States. If somebody really want to get you, they can get you. I don't care how much Secret Service. Like they say, where there's a will, there's a way. And Obama said, I don't have time to be standing at a podium. Next thing you know, half of my head is blown off. This is, you think that it's a game. This is serious business. Because you have corporations, you have you vote in a manner certain people don't like, and they would turn to violence. You end up dead. There are people who were part of unions who wanted to try to get better money, get better pay, and different things for the workers, and those who were leading these unions end up dead. So, when you really talk about voting, when you really talk about change in a corrupt world, you can't just vote and sit on your ass, because there are forces to keep things just the way they are. So don't tell me about voting if you're not really serious. And if we as dark-skinned people, if the only thing we're going to do is we don't have an agenda and everybody just vote any kind of way they want to, it's a waste of time. We have an agenda, and you don't have to have everybody on board, because all these idiots is not going to do it. But you have a good majority. We vote all the same way, support the same agenda, and then don't sit back in the cut and wait for somebody to do. You have to hold our people responsible, and then maybe perhaps you can get something done. Until then, it's just more voting, is just more church-going rhetoric, feel-good rhetoric. The politician that ain't nothing but a pastor. And the Lord shall, and we're going to do this. We're going to make a change. Obama was a pastor, and this was his flock. Feel-good rhetoric. So I don't mind voting if it's effective, But what's the sense of throwing a punch and you can't hurt the person that you throwing the punch at? Makes no sense to me. Anyway, jot down your comments. Let's talk about it. Till next time, y'all. Peace.